Namaste. Welcome. This is going to be a basic level class. We're going to work on hamstrings and pelvic integration today. And we'll do that by practicing some standing poses, some seated poses, maybe something lying down. For props, you might find it useful to have 2 blocks to go under your hands, a blanket or a towel to go under your knees when we're kneeling, and a strap to wrap around your foot while we lay down for a reclined leg stretch. All right, so let's begin. We'll start with a quote. I have a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he said, "To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you someone else is the greatest accomplishment." And I've been, trying to figure out this week, who am I? Why am I here? Right? It's kind of the eternal question. It's been asked in philosophers and texts from way back to the Rig Veda, which is several thousand years old. And it's like trying to figure out, what is the nature of the universe? How do I relate to that? What's my purpose? What's my dharma? And then when things get challenging, how do we show up? So right now, faced with all kinds of challenges, and we might all be questioning ourselves, like, why should I get up out of bed this morning? Well, hopefully you find a purpose, you find a reason to get up, get in the shower, get yourself going. And for me, I've remembered that part of who I am is wanting to connect with you and teach you this amazing practice and help guide you through, maybe something that motivates you a little bit today. So that's how I'm going to be myself. I'm just showing up here on YouTube. So cool. And I'm really excited to be here with you. When we align with our dharma or our purpose or our true nature, it's like the heart remembers that, yeah, I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. The universe said yes to you today. So welcome. Let's get centered. So sit well. You can roll your thigh bones in. You can't see my thighs on the video right now, but I'm rolling the thighs in. And then join your thumb and index fingers together. Place your palms face down on your lap. And align your palate over your pelvis. So the upper palate, the roof of your mouth, lines up over the center of your pelvis, and the heart is right in between. You can close your eyes and go inward. Just take a few breaths. You feel the flow of breath coming in and out. If you've taken class with me before, I like to say that the breath is the universe saying yes to you, right? Just that prana, that life force, keeps bringing itself right into you. So I love to think of each breath as an affirmation that, yep, I'm here, I'm showing up as my perfectly imperfect self, and the universe is okay with that. Bring your palms to touch in front of your heart and bow your head, just looking inward. See if you can align inside with your true nature, right? The true nature of the heart is one of peace and joy and freedom. And everything else that covers it up just gets in the way. So today, maybe part of our practice is just to align with that part of ourselves that experiences joy and freedom. One way that I experience a lot of joy is through chanting. So I'd like to chant with you the Shanti mantra invocation, and I typed it up in the chat comments. So if you're watching live, you can see them, I hope, in the chat comments. If you're watching the recorded video, I don't know if it's in there. I'll try to post it as a comment once it becomes available on YouTube in general. But the words say in English, may we be safe and protected together. May we enjoy the fruits of our endeavor together. May our learning be full of light. May we grow strong together. And may we never have discord with one another. So basically, it's like we're here, we're aligned, we're in it together. And then the last line is Om Shanti, 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 which means may there be peace. So let's do an Om together, and then the invocation, and then the Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And if you don't know the invocation, just receive it, no problem. Take a full breath in. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. To the self in the center, we bow. Namaste. All right, so let's come to a mat. So we're going to start standing. So place your feet right down underneath your hip bones with your feet parallel to each other, and spread your toes and feel all the four corners of your feet, how they connect down to the floor. The four corners of the foot are the mound of your big toe, so like right here, the ball of the big toe, the inner edge of your heel, then the little pinky toe, so you try to stretch that forward and diagonally a little bit, and then that outer heel. So you want to feel all those four corners of both of your feet just touching the ground, and your weight is distributed evenly. Then engage the muscles of your legs. Just hug your muscles right onto your bones to feel. Today, we're going to be focusing a lot on aligning the hips and the pelvis. So when we take the tops of the thigh bones and you move them back, that creates, I'm going to turn sideways here, that movement back creates a lumbar curve in your spine, which is good. We need that curve in the spine. It's for shock absorption, and it's the natural, healthy shape of that part of your spine. But then if the thighs are way back, sometimes we will tend to overarch here. So we want to create balance by rooting the tailbone down, and that creates a little bit more length in that curve. Now, without taking your thighs back first, if you were just standing and you just did tailbone, then you might go towards a reverse curve, and then also the fronts of your thighs kind of pop into the front of the pelvis, which not so good, okay? So firm your legs, take the tops of the thighs back to get your curve here, and then you scoop the tailbone under a little bit. Lengthen up through your sides and take your shoulders back. That does the same thing. We get length and space, take the shoulders back, we open up the chest. Perfect. Okay, so stay there. And then take a few deep breaths just in your mountain pose. From the center of your pelvis, you root down into your feet. You feel your connection through all four corners of your feet. And from the core of the pelvis, you stretch up through the top of your head. And let's start with some shoulder stretching, shoulder circles first. So take your shoulders up and back and down. Just roll through your shoulders. Feel, yeah, maybe there's some tension in your neck and shoulders. So we just start to warm up the muscles there and invite that tension to release, let go. You come all the way to that, but if that feels like too intense on your shoulders, you keep your hands about hip distance apart. Too intense on your shoulders, you keep your hands about hip distance apart, and then press your arms down. Bring your palms together at heart center. We'll do that a few times. Inhale, stretch up. And exhale, press down. Come back to the middle. Experience joy in the body. Okay, now the next time your arms come up overhead, we'll take a little side bend to the right. So lift up, and then as you exhale, reach your arms over to the right. You can press your hips out to the left a little bit, but then push down evenly, still into both of your feet. And you can try to twist the heart up towards the sky just a little bit, and then come back up to the middle. Exhale, second side, push down into your feet, extend out through your arms and hands, turn, look up a little bit, and then inhale back to center. Exhale, take your arms down by your sides and bring your palms to touch in front of your heart. All right, let's move right into a few gentle sun salutations. So for sun salutations, you can use blocks or your hands. This will be especially useful during the lunges and when we come into either plank or table or downward dog, then you want to push those blocks aside. So I'll demonstrate that with the blocks. Here in Tadasana, the mountain pose. Reconnect into the self, your true self. And then bring your palms together at heart center. And we'll begin. Inhale, stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, bend your knees a little bit, press your thighs back. Come into a forward bend, but try to keep the low back arching in. So this is where the blocks are really useful, because if you're rounding over trying to reach the blocks, chances are you're going to lose a lot of that lumbar curve. And then take a breath, look up, reach your head and heart forward. Then we'll step the right leg way back into lunge. Take it way back, bend your front knee, and now move your blocks so they're right beside your front ankle. Wiggle your foot back so your heel is pointing straight up and look forward. And feel the stretch in your legs. Keep the length through your spine. All right, next we'll go to table for now. So lower the back knee, step your other leg back and move your blocks out of the way here. Just come into a comfortable table pose. And from there, you can either stay in table or take the option of plank. And hug you into the center. Tap into your strength. And then exhale, lower yourself to the floor. Knees can be down. Lower your hips. Lower your chest down between your hands. And you can bring your chin or your forehead to the mat. Point your toes. Firm your legs. Inhale, baby cobra. Curl your shoulders up, lift your head and heart. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale, go on up to downward dog. So you curl the toes, you can push up through table pose, get the low back arch, and then lift your hips up. Take a couple of breaths in your down dog. First down dog, you can move and stretch and explore. Move in a way that feels authentic to you, in a way that makes your body feel good. And then come way up on your tiptoes and bend your knees a little bit, not all the way to the floor, but maybe halfway. And then really work on getting the pelvic alignment here. So you draw the sitting bones way up towards the sky. You get a bigger arch in your low back. Then you try to keep that as you straighten your legs. Then lightly add the tailbone energy down towards your feet. Feel how that creates balance and safety. All right, to come forward into lunge, we want to bring the right foot in front now. So you can lower your knees to the mat first. Step your right foot up, put those blocks under your hands once again. And then lift the left knee. Hug your legs strongly. Lift that back thigh up towards the sky. Take a deep breath. Ooh, feels good. Feels good to be in your body. It feels good to be in my body. I hope your body feels good too. And then we'll push off with that back foot. Way up on your fingertips. Look forward. Exhale and fold over your legs. Then press down into your feet. Turn your palms out. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release your arms down. Bring your hands together at heart center. In or table. And then exhale, bend your arms, come all the way down. Point your toes. Inhale, curl up. Bhujangasana, the cobra pose. Hug your shins in. Take your shoulders back. Take your throat back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lengthen. Push from your heart into your fingertips. From your heart, take your sitting bones way up towards the sky. And then reach down through your heels. Take the tailbone down and root down. And breathe deeply. Feel how your arms support your strength here. Your legs are supporting you. Forward. And then push off with your right foot and fold over your legs. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release your arms down, bring your hands together at heart center. Let's do a couple more basic sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, right leg back. Let's bring that knee down to the floor here and bring your hands up onto your front thigh. Squeeze your legs towards each other, roll your shoulders back, and then reach your arms up. Anjaneyasana, look up. You can challenge yourself here by sinking a little deeper into your hips. And then exhale, hands down. Step back, plank pose. And lower to the mat. Point your toes, inhale. Lift up, baby cobra, not too big. And then downward facing dog. Which could be 0, or it could be a lot, right? Each one of us, our own individual self. Put all the way out, just part way. And we come up for warrior 1. So lean forward with your inner thighs back, scoop your tailbone in, take your shoulders back, and reach up. And then challenge yourself by bending that front hip a little more, sinking down, and you rise up. And be yourself, be your authentic, beautiful, amazing self. Exhale, come on down. Step back to plank pose. Lower to the earth. Inhale, curl up, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Last part, we're going to bring the left foot forward and right heel down. So step your right foot in a little bit. You can plant your heel. Step your left foot all the way up to your hands. And then come up with your arms, hands on the front thigh. Firm your legs, take your inner thighs back. Scoop your tail. There's that good pelvic integration. And then shoulders back and reach up. Then from that place of integration in your pelvis, you expand, you shine. You lengthen down into your legs and your feet, and you rise up, you lift the heart, reach through your fingertips. And your next exhalation, touch the floor, and then step forward, fold over your legs, and root down into your feet to come all the way up. Release your arms down, bring your hands to touch at your heart center. And take a few full deep breaths in your mountain pose. Let your body settle. Connect into the self. And then you can release your hands and come into the center of your mat with the long edge of your mat in front of you. And we'll do a couple of standing poses from this position. So for the first one will be Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. You'll take a wide stance with your feet. Put these out of the way here. Okay, wide stance, such that if you reached your arms out to the sides, your ankles would line up under your wrists. And then just bring your hands to your hips for a moment. Turn your right foot out 90 degrees from the left foot. And you want to, again, find all those four corners of both of your feet pushing down onto the floor. Tone your legs. And then bend your right knee just above your ankle. Okay, you want to find that place where your shin is vertical, so you might have to move your back leg either forward or back to be able to get that vertical shin on your bent knee side. Okay, keep your hands at your waist. Take a breath. And just pause and remember, the universe has got your back. Okay, then engage your legs, squeeze them towards each other. It's like we take that knowledge that the universe has us and we get empowered. So your legs get strong, you feel stable. Align the pelvis, move your inner thighs back. Feel how that gives you the curve in your low back. And then root the tailbone in. Lift up through your side ribs, take your shoulders back and reach your arms straight out. All we can do, we can only give what we have to offer in this moment. And that's enough, and that's perfect. And then straighten the knee as you inhale, release your arms, and we'll switch to side B. Turn your right foot back to parallel. Turn your left foot out to the side. Bring your hands to your waist. Pause. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your connection down to the earth. And then hug your legs towards each other so you feel that. And with all that integration, you shine out. And then inhale, straighten your leg. Exhale, take your arms down. Turn your feet back to parallel. And then from here, we're going to go into Prasarita Padottanasana, which is a wide leg forward bend. So you can stay in your wide stance, hands to your hips, squeeze your feet towards each other. You'll feel your inner thighs tone. Then take a deep breath in. As you exhale, bring your heart forward with your thigh bones back. So you come into this kind of halfway position, and you can still feel that little arch in your low back. And you bring your fingertips onto your block. And then take a couple of breaths in your full, little farther. Maybe once you've gotten, once you've held the pose for a few breaths, maybe you can lower the block down or even want to keep it in line with your face. Okay, so firm your legs, lengthen your side ribs, lengthen your spine away from your hips, and then start to turn just the upper body. Now your hips might want to go too, but you try to keep your hips really stable and steady. And your hand is still, your belly and your chest, try to keep your hips steady and stable. And sometimes one side is easier to twist to than the other. Just see where you're at with that. And release. Good. Bend your knee. So that one really gets the hamstrings, which warms us up nicely for Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle behind the right ankle. Actually, let's do it this way. Put your block in front of your right ankle. Okay, this is a cool way to really feel the pelvic integration. Okay, so tone your legs, reach up. As you exhale, take your right. And then to come up, use your legs. Push down. Inhale and float yourself up. Then release your arms. Turn your right foot back to parallel. Take your block, just hold it in your left hand for now. Turn your left foot out. Get strong in your legs, reach up. Exhale, block to the inside of your foot. Right hand to your hip. Firm the legs up. So gotta have that strong base. And then lean forward, take your block forward. Lean your torso forward, roll your thighs in. Broaden the pelvis, get the lumbar spine to curve in. And then scoop your tail and then bring your body back closer to your left foot. Maybe even take your hand to the outside of your foot. And then maybe try to turn the torso up towards the sky. Take your shoulders back, reach. Allow yourself to come back into the center. It's like we expand out in a pose like Konasana. It's like so bright and expansive, and then we need to come back into ourselves. So there's always in life and in yoga, there's always this spanda, this element of pulsation. All right, come on down to the floor. We're done with standing poses for today. Yay! All right, you can move your blocks out of the way. You probably won't be needing them for the rest of the practice, but do get something to hold around your leg for a leg stretch. If you don't have a yoga belt, you can use the strap from your bathrobe or something, a towel even. And if you don't have anything handy, it's fine. You can do this without any props. Come on down onto your back with your knees bent. And enjoy lying on your back for a moment. And then with your belt, you can wrap it around the ball of your right foot and stretch the leg up. And without a belt, you're just going to hold your leg up with your hands. Okay. Now, even in this pose, we can focus, we can focus in on the pelvic alignment. So when your leg is up like this, you've got hip flexion going on, you tend to round the low back, and you might feel like and that might mean your leg doesn't come up as high, but now I can curl my hand here underneath my spine. And so now I've got a nice, healthy lumbar curve there. And that's gonna actually help the hamstrings stretch more effectively. Okay, you balance that with just enough tailbone scooping up towards the sky so that you feel some tone in your low belly, but not so much that your back rounds into the floor. So go for that place in the middle. Place in the middle is the place of your authentic self. Take a few deep breaths. And notice where you feel the down against the floor. That's going to make your low back arch up a little bit more, right? When the thighs go back, we get the low back curve. It's great. And then you add a little more tailbone perhaps, or just tone your low belly, and you'll feel that that creates more stability. But take the right leg out to the side. So you can turn your leg a little bit first, and then hold both ends of the strap together in your right hand and go out to the side. You want to keep your left leg on the mat, right? So we don't want to go so far that the left leg lifts up. Keep your left leg down and the right leg out to the right. And then from the center of the pelvis, you expand your legs and your spine. On your next inhalation, lift your right leg back up to center. Then take the strap in your left hand. Now we're going to roll all the way onto your outer left thigh. Your left pinky toe can come down towards the floor. If the right foot comes to the floor, that's okay, but if it doesn't, that's fine too. And then take your your right arm out to the right. You can turn your head to look up towards the ceiling. You're trying to get that right shoulder down on the floor. So the upper body is twisting to the right, the lower body is twisting to the left, and you get a great outer hip, outer thigh stretch here. Now, even here, can you keep the pelvis aligned by trying to push your thighs back? Yeah, and then the tailbone lightly draws in. Gently come back up to center, take that right foot up towards the ceiling, and then lower your right leg all the way down next to your left. Pause for a moment. Left, pause for a moment, and feel the effects. When we stretch and we move in a way that is well aligned, we're opening up patterns for the prana. We're releasing those habitual patterns that we hold where the prana, the life force energy, can get stuck. We stretch, we open it up, and then get this great feeling of flow. And that's the creative self too. Like, when you're in that flow and things are going really well, that's like you're in your authentic self. Go for second side here. So take your left foot straight up. You start with the right leg bent. That makes it a little easier to tilt your pelvis forward, get the lumbar curve, and then add a little tailbone. Breathe into the stretch. You find how much stretch feels appropriate for you today. Take several slow, deep breaths as you're holding. Okay, now let's take the right leg and take it down. Press your thigh down into the floor. Add that abdominal support as the tailbone tucks in. Feel your low belly muscles tone. Then we'll take both ends of the belt together in your left hand. Turn your left leg out a little bit so your toes point out slightly to the left. Keep your right thigh and hip on the floor and take your left foot out in different orientations. It's kind of cool. With an inhalation, bring your left leg back up to the center and then hold the belt in your right hand. Roll over to the outer right thigh. Your left hip comes way off the floor. And then take the left arm, reach it out to the side. Try to bring your shoulder to the mat. And your head can look straight up. Or you could turn your head to the left and look out over your left arm. Now the low back here, you want to draw that in as you try to press your thighs back into the hamstring muscles. Thigh bones move into the hamstring muscles. And then a little bit of pelvic tilt with the tailbone drawing forward. Legs extended, relax your arms by your sides. Come back in. Bend your knees and roll to your side. Make a pillow with your arm for your head. And then gently come on up. Got two seated poses. Okay, Baddha Konasana is the first one. So here's where sitting up on blankets or blocks or something to lift your hips up can be really helpful. So you sit. And then take your legs out into a degree angle with your legs, or you could go more like to 100 and this is about 100 and 100, 110 maybe. right? You don't want to go too far out to the side. That's a different pose. So the legs are in a V, not a straight line. We're not even here. You take one hand on top of your thigh. The other hand comes underneath from the back, and you lean over. You roll the whole thigh bone. You try to move the whole thigh bone into an internal rotation. And then you put your sitting bone down. And if you just do the one side, you'll feel, okay, so I'm more to the front of my right sitting bone and I'm more to the back of the left sitting bone. So we want to be way up on the fronts of the sitting bone. So then go do the other side. Rotate the thigh internally and then place your sitting bone down. Now check out your feet a little bit so that the second toe of each foot, or at least toe, is pointing straight up towards the sky. That's your basic foundation there, and you'll feel like, okay, I've got, you reach the heart forward. Right? If the back leg starts to lift up, you need a little more tailbone grounding you down there. You'll walk your hands towards your left foot, around your shoulders and your neck, and you can look down at your left leg. You can use the blocks here under your shins or your knees, and that gives your legs a good feeling of support. You can also roll the thigh bones in as we did earlier. Now, if you don't have blocks and your knees are up, a lot higher than your hips, I would encourage you to use your hands under the knees to give your legs that feeling of safety and support. Lift up through your side ribs, take your shoulders back, glide your throat back, palate over your pelvis, and then come to your breath. If you don't need to use your arms to support your legs, you can hold on to your ankles, and that will help you get the lift through your spine. And then we feel the self gradually opening, unfolding. You close your eyes, you can go inward more easily. Feel the flow of your breath, feel the flow of prana, the life force energy coming into your body. With each breath, affirmation of the self. You don't have to be anybody other than yourself. In fact, I believe it was Theodore Geisel who said, be yourself because everybody else is taken. You can stay in Baddha Konasana if it's comfortable, or you can cross the legs, or Sukhasana, easy seated pose. And we'll do a couple minutes of pranayama before we come down for Shavasana. So we'll start with Ujjayi breath and Ujjayi own breathing. Once you've comfortably able to make that sound, then we'll start to play with the breath a little bit. And if you're not getting the sound, or if it's taking a lot of effort to make that breath sound, then just breathe normally without doing the Ujjayi. We want to take a full yogic breath now. So as you inhale, fill your lungs all the way down to the bottom, and then all the way up to the top. And with your exhalation, release the breath from the top of your lungs all the way down to the bottom. And invite your inhalations and your exhalations to last about the same length of time. And with each breath in, feel your inner body expanding out to the sides and out to the back as much as towards the front of your chest. So there's this feeling of fullness in all directions. In Sanskrit, the word for fullness is purna, which is the same as the word for perfection, purna, which is one of the attributes of the absolute. It's just like just being full and being perfect, even with their imperfections. Line ourselves up as best as we can with that authentic, true self, the self with the capital S. And get ourselves as well into the flow of life as we can. Just for now, let go of the expectations of others. Let go even of the unrealistic expectations you may have for yourself. And just honor yourself for how you're showing up today, right now, in this moment. Gently bring your palms together in front of your heart and bow your head. And then release your hands down. Please come to lie down on your back. Use your blanket, but in a way that gives you support. So maybe you put it behind your head, or maybe you roll that blanket and put it at the base of your thigh, like just above your knee. You don't want your knees on the blanket because that can cut off some circulation. So you want it just above your knees. And then lie back on the floor. Let your legs turn out, feeling tension in your body, if anywhere right now. With each exhalation, you let that go. Relax all the way down into your feet and your toes. Relax your legs and your knees. Relax your hips. Release your jaw. And relax all of the muscles around your face and your eyes and your forehead. And for a couple of minutes, just be with your breath, be with your body, be with yourself. Enjoy the stillness and quiet. And now gently begin to awaken your body. Easy movement through your arms and legs. Maybe reach your arms up over your head. Stretch out through your feet. And when you're ready, you can bend your knees and roll to your side. And find your way up to a seated